I've learned some things since I became a guinea pig mom almost a year and a half ago, year and 4 months. um, and I just want to talk a little bit about what I've learned. So, what I've learned, first of all, the first thing I learned the hard way was that the pens that are advertised, that the all-in-one pens, where you order it and it comes with everything in one box, the floor, the walls, if there's a top, the top, water bottles, food bowls, everything. Yeah, and are advertised to be 8 square feet. Most of the time, really are not, because the floor base has, here's the floor base, and it's got these little walls on each end and the sides. Those walls usually indent a little bit. Now, the outside of that pen is 8 square feet, but that floor space inside is not. I learned that male guinea pigs especially need as much space as you can give them, practically speaking, so that they don't end up fighting due to dominance issues. And my 2 little guinea pigs, the first 2 that I brought home, were a bonded pair of boars. They had been together for over a year and done well at the rescue where I got them. I brought them home, and 2 weeks into it, they had their first blood-drawing fur ball fight. And I didn't see it happen, but I found the injury on Solomon's lip, and they ended up fighting more than once because I tried to get them back together. And Solomon was always the one that took the brunt of it and ended up with a wound that required care. And I did look online. I learned a lot of things online and reading and so on about guinea pigs, but I had no idea what they really needed, because the online information, it would say 8 square feet is okay, but if you can do 10, that's better. Well, I was trying to keep hubby happy and not take over the whole room, which I have now done. But so I purchased an all-in-one pen that advertised as 8 square feet, and since the boys were already bonded, I thought they'd be okay. I don't think the space they lived in at the rescue was much bigger than that, but it might have been. I'm not really sure. Anyway, so they started fighting, and then I had to figure out what to do. And the first thing I found out was that you have to separate them. Well, I just spent $150 for that pen. I wasn't really ready to spend another chunk of money, and to some folks that's not a lot, but to me it is. So did I have them? No, I bought CNC grids, just a couple of them. And they might have not have been the pet type, the type that are advertised for guinea pigs and small animals. They might have just been those grids that you can buy to make a shelf or whatever, create little storage units. But whatever they were, I bought 2 and put them in the little pen that I had. I did that as soon as I realized they were going to start fighting, and that they were going to keep fighting until I resolved some of the problems, and maybe forever. Well, it ended up being forever. But for then, I bought these partitions, I put them in there, and I looked at it and thought, no way, because it made each of their spaces so small. I mean, so small. Maybe, what? I don't know, 4 square feet. It's not much. It's just a little square here and a little square there and all this stuff in. Oh, it wasn't working. So I started doing more research. I learned a little more about CNC cages. I wanted to do it as frugally as I could. So I purchased more of the storage type grids. Well, what I later learned, I also purchased Coroplast flooring, 1 2x3 square or rectangular shaped Coroplast flooring, and I think I did get that from Amazon. It was the right size. It was meant for the real pet CNC grids, which are 14 inches by 14 inches. Guess how big the other grids are that you use for storage units? typically 12 inches by 12 inches. And that's what I had purchased, not knowing that there was a difference in size. So I purchased my 3 by 2 or 4 by 2, I forget. I purchased enough to make a bigger cage for my boys. And I got the flooring, the coroplast flooring. And I found out after I got all of that and put it together that the sizes were wrong. At first I didn't know what I did wrong. I was at a loss, because that piece of coroplast, once you fold the sides up, and they were scored already so that they were easy to fold, is supposed to fit on the inside of this grid pen. Well, it didn't. It did not, because the grid pen was set up with 12 by 12 inch grids, and the coroplast was made for 14 by 14 inch grids. So I had to set the grid pen, part of it, down inside the coroplast, and that really didn't fit either. So the coroplast on the outside kind of bulged outward. More money spent. And more money had to be spent. This video is going to end up being about my cage journey. I can see that coming. And I already have one of them. But nonetheless, it was quite frustrating, because now I've been through 2 full pen setups, the all-in-one and this type. And they were both wrong. And I still had to keep my boys separated, because they did have a bigger pen size. And at first, when I reintroduced them and I read about that and I tried to do it the right way, it seemed to be working. And I put them in the bigger pen together, even though the sides were bulging and it looked kind of stupid. It was bigger, and they seemed to do better for a little while. But after a few weeks, I noticed them again starting to get nasty with one another. And the next thing you know, they had another furball fight. Solomon had a wound. So I felt like, well, now what do I do? So needless to say, I put 2 grids in the middle and separated them again. But it still didn't give each of them enough space. It wasn't enough. Now, when I did all that, when I bought the coroplast flooring and the 12 by 12 grids, I also bought a folding table right here. Yes. Now that thing has been fine, and I'm glad I bought it. It has worked well for every cage change I've made to date, and I'm happy about that. But nonetheless, so I went, I don't even know where, somewhere online, and learned somewhere that those grids from Amazon, Walmart, wherever, that aren't made specifically for small animal pens are not the same size as these, not made for the coroplast flooring that comes pre-cut or pre-scored or whatever, because the sizes are different. So I buckled down, and a couple paychecks later, I ordered white real pet CNC grids from Cagetopia. I'm not sure what guinea pig cages. They may have changed their name, but I still refer to them as Cagetopia, and you can do a search and find them that way too. They still use that name as well. But anyway, yeah. So I bought the right size CNC grids, and I bought enough to make the cage a little bit longer, and also to put a nice partition between the two that actually has a swinging door. So if I have guinea pigs that are partitioned off and I want to occasionally open that little door up and let them interact with one another, see how they do, I do that. I just do that to give them a little bit of a play date and give them some time to socialize. Even if it's nasty socialization, it's better than none, I think. I don't let them fight. No, I watch them the whole time. And if they look like they're heading that direction, that door closes and they get separated again. And in the times where they're not together, where they're separated, they've been great. The first 2 that I did that with were my first 2 guinea pigs, Abe and Solomon, and they enjoyed themselves in their own spaces, and they did come together at the partition every now and then, or frequently actually. And I would put their hideys, one on one side, one on the other. They sleep there right next to each other. I put their hay on one side, one on the other. So when they were in their hay bins and got fresh hay, they'd be right there eating hay together. And I still do a little bit of that sometimes, not always, because I do have separated guinea pigs. Not the same two, but and then we'll go there another day if need be. I think I already have a video out there about it, but I'll talk about it again someday. So now I do have a nice large pen for my 3 piggies. 2 of my piggies live together. That is Abraham and Joey. Solomon passed in November. I got Joey in January, and then in May of this year, early May, late April, I adopted Sammy, and so now I have 3. I have tried introducing all of them and hoping that they would bond, but Sammy and Abe do fairly well together. Sammy and Joey, absolutely not. They do not have, there's no love lost there. Let's put it that way. And they fought. Nobody ever drew blood, but I did see a couple furball fights. And so I decided before the blood was drawn, I was separating, and I did. So Sammy lives at this end in a 3x2 CNC 14x14 grid section. And Joey and Abe live up here. This is a little bit L-shaped right there. This section is 2x3, and this L-shaped section is also 2x3. So they have plenty of space, and they're happy. They do very well. Abe and Joey have done well from the start. They occasionally just nose bump a little bit. That's the furthest it's ever gone. Joey is a talker and a squealer, and he complains, what I call it complaining, quite a bit, all the time, whether he's by himself or with another guinea pig. It's just what he does. So I hear that a lot, but I don't think it has anything to do with Abe. I think it's just Joey. So that's my story for today. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll post it. I'll give it a nice name as best I can, and that's all I'm going to say. So you have a wonderful, blessed day. Trust Jesus. He's real, and he loves you more than you could ever imagine. He'll be the friend that sticks with you to the end and beyond. It's the truth. All right. Bye-bye.